welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm doing the Schitt's Creek book tag. So this tag was created by Julie from Pages and Pens and Amy from Amy Reads. I will link both of their videos down below, as well as all of the questions. I am so happy that they made this book tag because I love Schitt's Creek. It is one of my favorite shows of all time, and I actually just finished watching the last season last night. I watched the final episode last night and I cried my eyes out. It was so good. I just really love this show. It is such a feel-good, uplifting, funny, and dramatic show. I really love it. If you are familiar with Schitt's Creek, it follows a very rich and successful family, and something happens with their business, and unfortunately they end up losing all of their money, all of their fortune. It's all gone. And the only thing they have left is this town called Schitt's Creek because the dad had bought it for the son as a joke. And so now they go to this small town in the middle of nowhere and they try to get back on their feet, and it's really funny. I just really love this show and I can't believe it's over. Like, I can't believe that's it. We don't get any more new episodes. It's done. It makes me so sad. So there are 12 questions in this tag. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Number 1, Johnny Rose, uplifting book with a good message. This question I found hard to pick a book just because I don't really read very uplifting, happy books. But the one that immediately came to mind for me is Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. This book is not like super happy or anything, but I do feel like it has a pretty good message towards the end. It kind of teaches you to realize that everybody has issues and like everybody has their own thing, and that, you know, you should be kind to other people and that you don't know what someone else is going through. I just found Archer and Bree's love story so beautiful. I mean, they develop this really great friendship. This follows Bree, who moves to this new town, and she bumps into Archer, who is mute. She hears a lot of rumors about him and he's kind of outcasted by the town, and she builds this slow friendship with him and discovers that there is a lot more to him and the town and all of that. And I just really love this book. I'm not really explaining like how good the message is in here just because I feel like you have to really read this book to understand what I'm saying. But I really love this book. Number 2, Moira Rose, an overtop character you can't help but love. This was also another tricky question for me. I tried to think of any like specific character in like a romance that I read that was like really over the top or really dramatic, but I couldn't really think of anyone. And then I thought of kind of a villain or an anti-hero. I'm gonna go with Javier from Dirty Angels by Karina Hatley. He is a character that is over the top. He is the type of character that would hurt or kill somebody just because he can. He's really not a good guy at all, but he's so interesting to read about because you never really know what he's going to do or how he's going to act. He first appears in the Artist trilogy, and then this is his spin-off book, and then there's also another spin-off book that follows his children. I hated him in the original books. I loved him in this book, and then I hated him in the other spin-off. I have a really love-hate relationship with Javier, but I think ultimately I do love him because he's just a bad guy and there's no redeeming him in any way. This is a dark romance. It is about Mexican cartels, and Javier kidnaps our female character who is married to another Mexican leader. Super dark, really, really dark. This, in my opinion, is Karina's darkest book ever. There are like trigger warnings and stuff, so yeah, but I absolutely love this book. Number 3, David Rose, a book that represents your aesthetic. I realized like there are a lot of book covers that I love that are very dark, but I don't feel like they fit me aesthetically because I'm not really like a dark person. I don't gravitate towards dark colors, but I do book-wise. One of my favorite covers is Winged Poppy Midnight. I absolutely love this cover. It's just so pretty and unique. This whole cover reminds me of just like Halloween and fall time. I do love this cover. I also really love the Royal series by Erin Watts. I love these covers. These are probably more, I guess, my real aesthetic. White with just like really simple colors. This is Twisted Palace. This is Paper Princess. This is Broken Prince. I think I like Broken Prince the most out of all of them because I do love blues. I gravitate towards blues. I also really love the cover of Gypsy King by Devney Perry. These covers in this entire series are really pretty. I'll hold up the second one as well. These covers are just really pretty. Number 4, Alexis Rose, Best Character Growth / Arc. For this, I'm going to mention 2 characters, and that is Nino and Kiara. I never know how to say her name. I really should look it up. From Twisted Emotions by Cora Riley. They both have an insane amount of character development within their first book. They do have a second book, Twisted Bonds, which they even have more character growth in, but within their first book, they have a lot of character growth and an overall like fantastic arc. This is a dark mafia romance. It's an arranged marriage romance. Nino is a very cruel, I mean, he's not really a good guy, and he deals heavily with not really feeling emotions. He has a hard time feeling love and feeling empathy and feeling remorseful. He definitely struggles with, I guess, like positive emotions. And Kiara was sexually assaulted, and so she is dealing with that, and now being in a marriage, she is trying to figure out her role, and I just love their character growth, and I think they are definitely one of Cora Riley's best characters that she has ever written, and they just have a great development. I love both of these characters so much. Number 5, Stevie Budd, Book with a Favorite Ride or Die Friendship / Group. For this, I'm gonna go with Lauren Lane, and I'm gonna go with her Sex, Love, and Stiletto series. It's been years since I read these books, so I can't fully remember how great the female friendship is in these books, but I do remember it being really, really good. And there's a whole like friendship group. I mean, this whole series is about women who work at this magazine company and are kind of rivals with this other men's magazine, and it's about all of these women finding love. I remember them just having like a great female friendship group. In general, like Lauren Lane writes really, really great female friendship groups. There's also a fantastic one in her Central Park Pact trilogy, and I'm pretty sure there's a very strong female friendship group in the Oxford series as well, but definitely in the Sex, Love, and Stiletto series. Number 6, Ted Mullins, Favorite Book with an Animal on the Cover. For this, I was trying to look at my shelves to see what my favorite book was that had an animal on the cover, and I realized I don't really have one. Like, I could have picked The Dream Thieves by Maggie Stiefvater, but I really don't like that cover. That cover isn't my favorite in the series, so I feel like, do I pick the book because it has an animal on the cover and I love the book, or do I not pick it because I don't love the cover? I don't know. But for this, I went with Shiver by Maggie Stiefvater. I love this cover. Again, this is simple. It's got blues and white on the cover, and there's also a wolf. I love wolves. I always kind of gravitate towards them, so I felt like I had to pick this one. I also really do love this series, and I kind of want to reread it now that I'm thinking about it. There are so many like old YA series that I really want to reread, and this is definitely one of them. Number 7, Patrick Brewer, Ideal Love Interest. I'm picking 3 because I can't pick Ignacio. I wouldn't say he's an ideal love interest because, again, he's not a good guy, but I love him. Oh, I love him. I also love his relationship with Carissa. I don't know, I love Naz. I can't help it. I also really do love Gabriel. I want to reread this series again. Obviously, I'm going to reread it for the adaptation, but I want to reread it again because I feel like there are so many things I missed, even though I've read this series twice and I'll be reading it for a 3rd time, but I feel like I missed something. I feel like there's more that I gotta read about. Does that make sense? And then also, I do love Rush. I love Rush too. I feel like Rush is truly like one of my first book boyfriends. Like, I really loved him. I don't know, there's just something about him that I've always really loved, and like, to me, he's always one of my favorite male characters. I mean, him and Blair, they're definitely like one of my OTPs. I love them. I guess this is a weird ass combination, but these are like my favorite male characters, I would say. So number 8, community service. A book you read for school / a buddy read or readathon challenge you had low expectations for but ended up being amazing. This I really tried hard to think about, but I actually don't have an answer for this question. Everything I read for school, like back in high school, I always thought I would somewhat enjoy. That was never like really a question, and I don't really do buddy reads because I read a book in one sitting. I can't help myself, so I don't do buddy reads very often. I actually don't think I've ever done one before because I just end up reading. I don't really do readathons because I'm just not made for them. So sadly, I don't have an answer for this question. Number 9, Ewww David. A book you DNF'd because the content was too much for you. Again, I don't really have an answer for this one. I don't really DNF books. I am the type of reader that will just read the entire book even if I hate it. I want to stand strong in my opinion of why I hate a book, and I feel like if I don't finish the book, I can't really have like that solid of an opinion because I didn't read the whole thing. That's just obviously my opinion for me. A book I should have DNF'd, The Truth About Heartbreak by B. Celeste. This is a recent book that I read. I read it back in March and I ended up giving it 2 stars. I should have just DNF'd it because I really wasn't into it. It wasn't that the content was too much for me. It was just I really wasn't into the book, and I don't know why I continued reading it. Number 10, Love That Journey for Me. Best series ender / overall series progression. For this, I'm going to talk about a series I don't really talk about anymore, and that is the Addicted series by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This series has one of the best character developments I think I've ever read. Like, if you compare this book to this book, it's crazy. Even though I don't talk about the series anymore, it is one of my favorite series of all time. I have such a huge attachment to it. I read it at a very important time in my life. Even though Rose and Connor are my favorite couple, I do feel like Lily and Lo had the most character development out of them all, and they deserved all of the happiness ever. Number 11, Eat Glass. A book series or author you've broken up with. I have 2 answers for this question. I would say Megan March. I really don't read her books anymore. I feel like a lot of her books are kind of just the same thing over and over again. I really enjoyed her, I think it was Mount trilogy. I do own the first book. I read that one, and then I read the spin-off, which was like the Savage trilogy or something. After that, I kind of just realized like a lot of her books are the same thing. I'm not saying I'll never ever read her books anymore, but I think I've like definitely needed a break from her books just because I do feel like they're kind of the same thing. But an author I have officially broken up with is Krista and Becca Ritchie, who wrote the Addicted series. I've read the first 3 books in the spin-off series, and I kind of regretted it. I no longer have an interest in reading any of their other books. You know, when some authors just write these really iconic characters and these really emotional, and just you truly connect to all of the characters and you have such a love for them and you feel like no other character could ever replace them. That is how I feel about the Addicted series. I feel like the spinoff tainted my love for the original characters, and I just really I really don't have an interest in continuing that series, and I don't see myself ever reading any of their other books ever, which is a sad thing to say because I loved the Addicted series so much. It's why I really don't talk about it, because it makes me a little emotional, but I have really no interest in reading any of their other books. And the last question, very uninterested in that opinion. A popular opinion you disagree with. How do I say this? I don't get the hype around LJ Shen. I have read the entire Sinners of Saints series. I have read The Kiss Thief, which I actually enjoyed. And I have read Dirty Headlines. I feel bad for saying this, but like I just don't get it. All of her male characters are the same. None of her male characters are different. They are all alpha males that are jerks. Even though I love that, I just feel like that's all she writes. I also don't get the love for the Sinners of Saints series. I love bully romances. I love darker romances, but I don't get the hype. Yeah, I don't like have an interest in reading the spin-off series. I just don't think she's an author for me, I guess. So that is it for this tag. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know some of your answers to these questions down below. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to give this video a like, subscribe, follow me on all my other social media, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.